Well, happy Good Friday to everyone out there in the internet world that's watching this. It is Good Friday. I love Easter weekend. It's a good reminder on, all that we're blessed with. So I'm here today with Miss Kim Miller. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, super excited. I was explaining to her that obviously this is the B major community, and I like to talk about businesses and people who are doing some really amazing things for our area. But I really love to dive deep into organizations, and Kim is involved in the community garden here locally. And if you haven't heard about it, then you're in the right spot because we are going to talk about the community garden today. One of our team members, Jerry Voth, that's on our B major team, he is a very, very dedicated member of the community garden, and he is loving it. So we talked about bringing Kim on, and here we are. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Kim, your background, who you are, and anything that you want to share with everyone.
Good morning. First of all, thank you for having me. I am, of course, president of the Port St. Joe Community Garden. I grew up in Panama City, Florida, not too far from here, and have always loved this general area and knew that as I got older that I would not venture far from here because it's just paradise. There's no reason to leave, honestly. But my husband and I moved into Port St. Joe. We've been living here part-time for a long time, and finally, after he retired, semi-retired, we decided to make this our home full-time in Port St. Joe in Gulf County, and we absolutely love it. The one thing that we found is that there's not a shortage of opportunities to be involved in the community here, and so I just migrated into the community garden as a volunteer.
Yeah. Were you ever part of the garden club as well?
I am. I joined.
Are you?
It's hilarious. I mean, I won't say hilarious, it's heartwarming. I joined in, I guess it was around like 2015, something like that. And I believe we were had maybe 16 members, and now we're over 100 members strong. And that's unheard of for any garden club, but especially in a small community like this. But
Yeah.
this is that much fun to be involved, and just that much opportunity to make a difference in our community too.
Yeah. So how did you end up becoming the president of the community garden?
Whew. Baby, she was the president of the community garden, and after the hurricane, she and her husband decided to go and take their RV and go on the road. So they left the area, they moved out of the area, and they were traveling across the country, visiting family, grandchildren. And so apparently I was next in line. So I just kind of, I was just kind of handed the hat, and
Here you go.
here I am.
Yeah. Well, someone's got to carry the torch. So yeah, that's so cool. I just love that you grew up here. Like, you've probably seen so many changes, not just Panama City, but I mean, I've been here since 2015 and have seen a crazy amount of changes. I cannot imagine seeing something, change so drastically in our area from the time that, of growing up here. It's got to be completely different.
Very much so, but still, the beauty is still here. The beautiful beaches, the St. Joe Bay is still here, and the sense of community is still here. Just good people, and I don't know exactly what it is. I guess people that are drawn to the Gulf of Mexico and this area are just inherently people who have a deep appreciation for our natural resources, for the beauty of this area. And so no matter what background you come from, what career you have, where you grew up from a child to an adult, everybody ends up here with a common denominator, and that's the love.
Right.
Yeah, which is
I
amazing.
would totally agree. I mean, we had never been here before when we came, and there's such peace and solace here. Like, there's something in the air. I'll just say that. And when I'm showing clients, they're always like, "Oh my gosh, we just love it here," and they can't even express the reason why. It just feels good.
Yeah,
So
home. You just
yeah, it does. It very much does.
yeah.
which says a lot about the people in the community, which I think that we all, well, me personally, experience that love and that community after Hurricane Michael. I was just blown away by how awesome this area is. Like you can't get much better.
Exactly. And I think too, with the pandemic, I think a lot of people, and we've seen a real big surge in people relocating here to this area, and especially Florida in general. But
Hmm.
a lot of people who worked in other careers, other places, had always had it in their mind and had always had the dream of being here. And I think that the pandemic and their ability to now be able to work from home
Yep.
kind of propelled them here now. It's
Oh,
like,
for sure.
make this happen now.
For sure. I hear that all the time. If I'm going to work from home, why am I going to work in the city? Like I can come here. I'm like, let me help you out right there. So yeah. Well, I'm super excited to discuss the community garden. So let's just dive right in. Let's just pretend that the majority of the people watching, because this might be accurate, like don't even know where it's at, what it's about. Like, can you give us just an overview? And I mean, as thoroughly as possible, if you want to, about the garden. I'd love to know more about it. I know this much about it. So
Okay. We kind of researched different gardens that were around our area, different communities, and we wanted to do ours a little bit different because we felt like the need was different here, especially after the hurricane, but also with the economy the way it is, and just so many different variables that are involved. And so, what we did is we set ours up. We have 19 plots that build out right now, or 16 plots that build out. I'm sorry. We have 9 plots at this time that are already constructed, and ours is not to be adopted by individual families unless they have the the ability to be able to distribute the food out to more people than just their family. So what we are doing is appealing to civic groups and also businesses, churches, the Boy Scouts, just anybody like that to adopt a plot. And the plot is already built. It already has the soil in it. You plant the seeds, you sow them, you reap them, you harvest the food, and then the goal is to get it out into the community wherever it's needed. And it could be going door to door in a community, in a neighborhood, to check on the neighbors and see how they're doing. Or it could be taking a box of produce to the senior center or to Two Fish Food Pantry, for example.
mhm.
Or it could be taking it to the front lobby of your church so that the elderly people, when they leave after the service, they can help the congregation can help themselves to whatever produce they may need. So it's not just it's meant to be a resource for nutrition, but it's also meant as a community outreach. And that's what I love about this program, is what it's turning into. But I mean, after, like we discussed the hurricane, we discussed the pandemic, and after we've seen and endured that, we really have come to know that there is definitely a need in our community for this, and not just that. I mean, just to check on our neighbors and make sure that they're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah, and one other thing I'd like to mention while I'm on it though is that in getting involved in this, I've had people stop by from the senior center and said, "Look, we could use the nutrition, or we like to take some of the seniors out for a little day trip. We'd love to bring them to the garden and see
Oh,
what."
that's awesome.
We've had but more importantly, we've had, like, for instance, the sheriff department tell us that, we have a share ride program. If a elderly person is in need to get to a hospital or a doctor's appointment, there's a program to get them there, and we handle that. And then I was also told that our elderly, if they cannot afford their gas bill, there's a program to help with that. I didn't know these resources existed until people were bringing that up to us, and I was like, this is so much bigger than just a garden.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so here's my question. So
Okay.
I get a plot and I say, Kim, I want to to grow something. Is there certain things that one should or should not grow? I mean, is everyone talking like if we have 7 plots of tomatoes, then probably we shouldn't do more tomatoes? Or, like, is there like some sort of like this one is growing this and this and this, or do you have you can do whatever you want on your plot?
You can pretty much do whatever you want, but the season kind of dictates that, because of different things excelling better if they're planted during different times of the year.
Yeah.
So like right now is the springtime. So we're in our largest planting opportunity right more most variety that we'll have all year long. In the fall it'll change. Right now corn is getting started and should be I think they say knee high in July. Um,
Yeah.
but it's kind of dictated by the time of the year. But for example, the garden club, the Port St. Joe Garden Club has a plot, and they're doing all flowers in theirs. So how nice is it to take a basket of produce to one of our neighbors or one of our
And
elderly,
there's
and just
flowers.
a little vase full of flowers for them? You know,
I
so
love that.
variation there.
I love that.
Yeah,
So if there's an organization out there, then they can basically contact somebody and say, "We'd like to adopt a plot." So are the plots like a certain space of the ground, or are they a raised bed?
yeah, they're all raised bed. And they're pretty good size. If you wanted to just do a half plot, you can. That's always a possibility. But they are raised beds, and it's just first come first serve. And we do have some available, so we'd love to get them all filled.
Yeah. Is the dirt and everything there, or do you have to fill the bed?
No, the dirt's there. We recently acquired a from a John Deere riding lawnmower, which has a cart with it, so we can move the dirt around the soil if we need to. So that's been a good asset that we've added to our collection of tools in the garden.
That's
And
awesome.
so it's really it's well planned out. We've received just so much support from the community, from business leaders, the City of Port St. Joe, the St. Joe Company. Can I mention a few of our sponsors?
Absolutely. This is all you, sister. You go for it.
St. Joe Bay Lumber Company donated a lot of excess lumber to us, and we're grateful for that because we used that to build the raised beds and some of the framework that we needed for other projects. Just the Watapo Creek HOA donated their 4x4 posts from their fence after the hurricane took that down.
I
Windmark
love
donated boardwalk boards that they've replaced on their boardwalks. We used those to build the initial beds. Um, your company sponsoring a plot with us. And Jerry coming out, and he has been a huge asset to us
that.
in the garden. And he's just amazing. He's jumped in there and just taken over projects and just made so many things happen for the garden. And it's not just to benefit just the committee that runs it, it's for our whole community. So I can't think of anybody at this time that's really done a lot more volunteer wise than he has.
I'm so proud of him because when we initially got together and, as a team, we came up with these standards, principles, and values. And one of them was contribution and volunteerism, like where we want to be able to contribute back into the community and volunteer into the community. And I told him, I said, really like think about it. Like there's something that you love, that you're passionate about, not just about people and about helping people in real estate, but there's something else. And I'm a swivel sister, and so I'm out there helping my swivel sisters, and we do a lot with that organization. And if you'd ever see Jerry's backyard, it is just as green. He's got such a green thumb, and he loves it. He loves to work in the yard, and so this was such a good fit. When he first told me, "I think I'm going to get involved in the community garden," I was like, "Yes, like that is it, like so good." So he's loving it. I even gave him a little budget, for our little space. I'm like, please plant some flowers and make it pretty.
He's totally
Yeah.
different. And that's one thing when you mentioned about the volunteering. A lot of people move here to retire and they have extra time on their hands. And some of them still want to have a sense of community and they still want to be appreciated for what they have. They still have things to contribute. In
Yeah.
small community as this, we really realized, I think, after the hurricane, how self sufficient we are, but also how self sufficient we need to be here.
Mhm.
Um, the volunteering projects here are just endless, but they're so rewarding. I mean, you've got the Turtle Patrol, you've got Sacred Heart Hospital, who relies so much on their volunteers there, even if it's managing the front desk or a gift shop. The community garden, for example. So there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of opportunities, I guess is the way to put it, for people to come and contribute to keep this, not only to keep our community moving, but to help it excel.
Yeah.
you know.
And just to stay involved. It's so good to have that, you know, person to person contact and just to stay involved and keep, keep things going. I mean, but I will say this, like I don't mind going and sitting by the water all by myself either. So, but I love to stay involved. So,
Yeah. You asked me what my perfect day would be, and
yes.
that would be it, because that's one thing I don't do enough of is just sit at the edge of the water and get my toes in the sand, and that's ultimately the reason why I think we're all here.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I don't take it for granted, and of course, I know you don't either. It's just there's so many things to do, so that's the reason why we could use volunteer help, so I could go experience that every once in a while would be
Right.
nice.
Well, don't forget to take care of yourself. I'm a big believer in taking care of your own self so that you have enough to pour into others. So you
Absolutely.
make sure you do that. Well, if someone does want to help volunteer or adopt a plot or whatever that looks like, how can they do that? How do they get a hold of who and how and all the goodness there?
Okay. We have a Facebook page. It's Support St. Joe Community Garden. You'll see our beautiful little lighthouse logo. And it's on Facebook, and you can reach us through private message there, or you can put a post there, comment on anything that we post. And if we do need help, we usually do, well, we don't usually, we always put a post up ahead of time, to ask for people to come out and let them know what the projects are. And since we're still new, there are projects to be completed. We started in 2018. Our committee it was a garden there years ago, and so we resurrected it, and that's when we began, was 2018. And of course, we were derailed a little bit by the hurricane, got back on track, derailed again by the pandemic, got back on track. So this spring are actually our first spring planting for this group. And so you can reach us through Facebook. Also, we're located at the intersection of North Garrison and Kinney Street. If you're traveling down Highway 98, if you turn north on Avenue A, you go straight down to hit North Garrison, which is right by the railroad tracks. Take
Mhm.
left, you'll see us right down there on the right.
That's
So
exciting.
we have plans for 16 garden beds, as we mentioned. The corn plots, we have 2 peach trees in. We're adding 5 more citrus trees, and that is all located within the garden. And then outside the garden, there's a lovely sidewalk that leads to the old Washington School, and it runs into the track there. So you're welcome to go out there and walk the trail at the old school. And that also will lead the public by our butterfly garden, which will
Aw,
all the public, and it'll have native plants there, trees. We'll have a library book stand, take one, contribute one, and we'll have some benches there in the future for anyone who goes through there to sit and just read and enjoy the space. And it's going to be a beautiful space.
I love it.
Yeah,
That is so exciting.
yeah,
Well, so if you go to Port St. Joe Community Garden, don't forget to follow them or like them so that you will start to see their posts too. So then if you are thinking, hey, maybe I'd like to get involved in some things, if you like their page, then you'll start seeing that show up on your news feed too. So that's awesome. So
and we are a 501(c). If someone wants to go and make a donation, we would appreciate that, because we still need to get the benches for the butterfly garden. We still need a small greenhouse on the property so we can cultivate microgreens and tomatoes. And so we do take donations. We are underneath the Pioneer Bay Group out of Northport St. Joe. And I think you'll probably be doing a segment on them as well in the future, because they've been a huge asset to our community as well.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining us today. That was such great information. I hope you all really enjoyed it. If you did and you want to get involved, please drop a comment in here. Like, I'll help direct you to their page if you need to. Let Kim know that she is fully supported by our community. We would love to hear from you. So,
Perfect.
anything else you'd like to add?
No, just appreciate you and all that you do for the community, your insight and your contributions to making things work and getting people involved is amazing.
Thank you. I
Thanks.
love it. This is the best part of my job is this right here. I love it. So,
Thanks.
all right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Have a great Easter weekend, and we will talk soon.
Happy Easter. Bye bye.